Hello, it's Debbie from Create Pretty Things and Chuck Pretty Things. Today we are going to do one of the easiest, quickest projects ever. And it's going to look amazing. And there's not going to be any mess to clean up. We're going to do a little heat transfer. I've got this gorgeous little Mickey and Minnie right here. They're ready to welcome anyone into your garden. I have a little garden flag here. It is a sublimation fabric flag, which means it's high polyester. The first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and press it just a little bit with my Cricut Easy Press. I have an Easy Press, and I'm going to be using a temperature of 360 today for about 60 seconds. I'm just kind of pre-pressing to get any moisture out of it and to remove any wrinkles. And then I'm going to set it aside. It's actually only at 307 right now, but it will come up to temp pretty quick here, and that's all we're going to use. So if you haven't used a heat transfer yet, they come like this. There's just a sheet of paper that's printed with a special ink, and all you do is you iron it onto your fabric, and it goes into your fabric with the heat. So once it's in there, it will not wash out. It can withstand the elements. You can be rained on. It's great. So it's great for garden flags. And when you purchase these are on my website. If you type in the word flag, you will get the link to the supply list I'm using. And there's only two things in there: the garden flag and the sublimation transfer. So these are called heat transfers on our website, but they're the same as the sublimation transfer. And it works by transferring a special ink into the fabric. Now, there's only two things in the shopping cart. There's not going to be any cleanup today except for maybe throwing away a piece of paper. But one thing I like to do, there's a couple rules for sublimation, which make them a little tricky. But one thing is you want to work with a light colored fabric. So either like a light blue, a light gray will work, light yellow, something light. And you want it to be high sublimation content, preferably about 70% polyester. Now, I always like to put a piece of, they call it blowout paper, but a piece of parchment. It could be a piece of printer paper if you want, something underneath. And I do have my heat-resistant foam mat here. So I'm going to place this down. And then what you're going to do is you want to put your transfer down over your substrate or your surface. Now, if you need to, you can cut these apart. No problem there. But I think they're going to fit perfect just as they are. And so I'm going to go ahead and place them a little high on this. And I've got heat-resistant tape here just to hold it in place. So I told you about the rules of light colors. I told you about the rule of high polyester fabric. Another one is not to let your heat transfer move around. So I'm going to tape it down. If it moves, it can smear and you won't get a great image. So it will kind of ghost out. So I'm going to go ahead and put some heat-resistant tape. I got this off of Amazon. So this is not in your shopping cart, but if you've never done sublimation before, you may want to look in this came separate. The roll of tape, heat-resistant tape, and the tape dispenser. You may want to get that. So now that I have this down, and I want to make sure it's even. Yeah, it's a little over this way, but I don't know if that matters. Let's see. So I'm moving it just what I told you not to do, right? Well, it's okay because I haven't applied the heat to it. So I'm just going to center a little better, make sure my tape is down. Now my Cricut isn't quite at temp. So let's talk about the Cricut Easy Press. The Cricut Easy Press looks like this, and I love it because it comes with this heat-proof stand that you can put it in. And they come in many different sizes. The colors have changed throughout the years. Mine is one of the very original ones. So it only gets up to 360 in temp. But that's okay because that's all these need. Some sublimation, you may want a little higher temperature. And this heat press is going to be perfect for covering this entire transfer. Now, if you have a larger transfer, you could do it in two separate passes, just making sure that you're not moving it around too much. But if you don't have a Cricut Easy Press yet and you're interested in looking for them, I would go for the larger size because it's going to cover more space for you. So I'm just kind of talking because my easy press isn't quite where it needs to be. But I've got a couple other things to tell you. We had a couple quick drops this week. Last week, they announced the Devil Wears Prada collection. And it's just a set of, I think it's like 2 transfers and 2 heat transfers. So the regular transfers are to be used with ink or paste. And then the heat transfers are just like this. It's a sublimation where you'd iron it in. So take a look at that. That new movie's coming out very soon. And I know it's going to be a big one. It's going to be very popular. So go ahead and look at those transfers if you're interested in doing a movie night or a craft night in conjunction with that. That would be a lot of fun. And then also yesterday, we dropped a new collection for Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh from Disney. So that's a new drop from yesterday. So the link for that, to get to it, all you have to do is go to chalkcouture.com/chalkprettythings. And then this is what it's going to look like. It's going to take you to this website here. Turn off this light just so you don't get blinded. And here's some, oh, we also have Looney Tunes, which dropped recently. But if you go up here to shop, you will see that Winnie the Pooh is right here. Devil Wears Prada, the Mickey collection, and Looney Tunes. I'm just going to go to shop. And then I'm going to go to Winnie the Pooh. So you can get a quick glance at what we have. I don't know which one's my favorite. I love this little Winnie the Pooh one. But if you can see, there's not a whole bunch. There's about 5 maybe. Let's see how many there are. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 transfers, and then a pack of heat transfers, which is 4. So there's some new stuff there, and they've got an adorable heat transfer there with Winnie the Pooh. Okay, as you can hear, my heat press just came up to temperature. It's important that you cover your transfer with another sheet of parchment paper. So you need something between your iron and your design. And one thing about sublimation is sometimes when it's heating up and transfer the design, it can release the gases which turn into the ink. And sometimes they may get on your iron or your surface that's down below. So that's why I'm recommending 2 pieces of parchment. Okay, so it says 60 seconds on here. So timer, 60 seconds. 60 seconds. We're going to go ahead and start that, and it's not going to be big enough to cover my design. So notice I'm not moving it, but I may want to apply some pressure. They do say that heat sublimation loves pressure to help it get into the fabric. So I'm just kind of leaning on it a little bit. I'm not applying a lot of pressure, but I am leaning on my Cricut Easy Press. One thing, you just want to make sure you don't move that. And I didn't start my timer, so I'm going to have to guess. We'll go for maybe 30 seconds. So you don't want to move your iron. And when you do go over to the other side, move it so that you're not sliding anything. So we will see how this works. I'm going to turn my light back on. I think it's a little better for you guys. So it says 42 seconds left, and I think we're going to go till it's 30 seconds. And that means 5 more seconds, and then we're going to go ahead and move it over. One other thing is you want this to be as flat as possible onto your surface. So if you're doing something that has a zipper or a seam, which this does have a seam at the top, but I'm pretty clear of it, make sure you clear that so that you're not getting just a little bit of pressure, uneven pressure, I guess I'm saying. Make sure you're having even pressure throughout. I'm not even sure if I started this, guys. So I'm going to go for maybe another 30 seconds because I'm not doing so good with the timer. So have you ever tried sublimation before? It's a lot of fun. It's just sometimes the ink that we use to decorate our textiles is easier for me because I don't have to worry about the fabric content or the color of my sublimation surface. But if I'm doing something like a white koozie, a garden flag, an apron, something that is high polyester, I will go with the heat transfers, and they have so much detail in them. So that's why I love them. Well, I'm not sure how long that was, but I guess longer is better than less. And I'm hoping that Mickey has enough pressure too. Let's let it go until it goes down. And then we'll take a peek. Now, when I said it turns that ink into a gas, I don't want you to expect to see a whole bunch of steam or gassing or anything, but what you are going to see is that it's very hot. So take off your blowout sheet, and I can see on this, they say to only use your blowout sheet one time. Do you guys see that faint design of Mickey and Minnie on there? That will transfer to another t-shirt or garden flag or whatever if you use that again. So throw that away. I'm going to go ahead and peel off. Oh my gosh, guys. Look how it took most of that color right off of there. It left a little bit so you can still see it, but I can't wait for you guys to see this. Look at this flag. Look at the colors in that, guys. Isn't that amazing? So that was maybe 2 minutes pressing time. Okay, this one is my bottom paper. And remember I said I like to do it because I don't want to get it on my heat mat. I can also see some gassing. I can see a little shadow of my Mickey and Minnie on the bottom one. So I'm throwing that away as well. Turning off my heat press. I did have this down, but it didn't transfer any ink to it because I had the paper under. So I do have a garden flag stick here if I can get it out without causing a lot of havoc. So this little stick I just got from Amazon. And all you're going to do, see how this has a seam on top? That's what I was saying. Avoid that seam when you're pressing because that'll cause uneven pressure. So I'm just going to go ahead and slip this garden flag hanger right over the top. I'm going to put on this little stopper to stop it from blowing. And this particular one hanger has a little clip at the bottom so that it won't flip and turn. But here is our garden flag. It took me maybe 5 minutes to prepare for, 5 minutes to press. And then everyone's going to see it out in my garden. It's going to be so adorable. I love this, guys. I hope you do too. Quick and easy is the answer. Think about gifts for this. How about having your kids or grandkids or a group of kids over for a end of school year party? Well, it depends on the age because the heat press is pretty hot, but maybe this would be a good gift for them. Something to do like with the Disney collection. So we do have other things in our Disney collection. I hope that you take a look at them, but I think this was a big success and I love, love, love how it turned out, and I hope you do too. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.